This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Baruchim Abba and welcome everyone to a special edition of All Parsha, the Ben La'ashri, the Tzaddik of Ra'anana, on Parshas Lecha. Well, let's begin with a general chiddush that the Tzaddik Ra'anana says, and that is, he says over from Rav Mordechai Yosef, the author of the Mei HaShiluach, the Ishbitzer, on the Pasuk in Parak Kovav, Vayisa Yadoi Lahem, God raised his hand to swear, Lahapil Zaram Bagoyim, to cast their children among the nations of the world, and to scatter them in the lands. This is talking about in reference to the Ched HaMeraglim, that God swore that he would scatter the Jewish people throughout the world. And the Mefarshim ask, and this is raised by the Netziv and the Imrei Emes and his Likutim, where did God swear? Where do we find in the Chumash that God swore that he would scatter us throughout the world? And the Tzaddik Ra'anana says over from the Ishbitzer an amazing approach. In the Parsha Shlach, in the episode of the Meraglim, it says, V'ulam chayoni, and however, chayoni, as I live, that's a lashon of a shvua, v'yimalech v'yid Hashem es kol ha'aretz, let the glory of God fill the world. There is a concept that if the Jewish people would never have sinned, then we would have been able to remain where we are, namely in Eretz Yisrael, and we would be able to draw through our avodah all the sparks of Kedusha that are scattered throughout the world and bring it to their source. However, because of the Ched HaMeraglim, our power was greatly diminished, and now we don't have the capacity anymore to draw like a magnet all the sparks of Kedusha, and therefore we need to spread out throughout the world to be able to gather these sparks. So this is what it means. Chayoni. Chayoni means God swears. Now, the sparks of Kedusha will be scattered throughout the world, and you will have to go after them to collect them. So that is where we find indeed that the Rebbe Shalom swore that the kavod of Hashem, the glory of Hashem, the sparks of Kedusha would be scattered throughout the world. That is what it refers to in Tehillim, Vayisa Yadoi Lohem Lahapel Zaram Bagoyim. Says the Tzaddik of Ra'anana, what emerges is that man's path in this world, and man's ways in this world, are in order to be able to gather all the various sparks of Kedusha that may be in the far ends of the world. Sometimes we don't know why we will have to travel to certain places or go to certain locations, but the Rebbe Shalom orchestrates that we will accomplish what we need to, and there are specific reasons why God has brought us to various areas wherever we may travel. And with this introduction, this is a good segue to some of the ideas of the Ben La'ashri on Parshas Lecha. Again, this is a piece he writes on Parshas Lecha on page Kuf Lamed Tes. Says the Tzaddik Ra'anana, we're going to try to share with you 7 offerings this week. The Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh says, also, as we just mentioned, that had Klal Yisrael not sinned, we would have been like a magnet, drawing the Kedusha after us. However, but because we sinned, we have to go into the Galus. Otherwise, we don't have the capacity to draw the Kedusha. Therefore, says the Tzaddik Ra'anana, certainly, whatever Avraham Avinu did, all of his travels, all of his wanderings, was to gather the sparks of Kedusha. Says Hashem, Lech Lecha, it's time for you to leave your land now, because you've already accomplished everything you need to accomplish. You've already taken out and extricated all the sparks of Kedusha. Me'artzecha, you've already removed all the sparks of Kedusha, that it's no longer Artzecha, it's not your land anymore. You've already taken everything out. Artzecha refers to the really holy sparks that you were able to remove just by being in that land. Meiladetecha refers to lesser sparks that at least you had to be in the location of that area of your birthplace. And mi beis avicha are those sparks that are so weak that they were only able to be removed because you were in that house. Lech lecha means leave to the land that I will show you, because you've already removed all these sparks of Kedusha that you possibly could have. Vayomer Hashem el Avram Lech lecha gematria shakai shin daled yud geshem. Enough physicality. The Ben La'ashri explains as follows. The Gemara says in Masechta Rosh Hashanah, The Shem Shmuel, says in Rosh Hashanah on page Nun Beis that which the Medrash Tanchuma says, why is God called Shakai? Because he said it died to the world. The world wanted to expand, and God said, no, stop! What does that mean, the world wanted to expand? Says the Ben La'ashri. The meaning is, when Hashem created the world tried to expand and physicalize and become more megusham, more and more and more megusham, until they wanted to completely conceal any recognition of the Creator. And God said, enough physicality, enough concealment. Therefore, we know that until Avraham Avinu came to the scene, the world was tohu vavoyu. And at that point, God said, Lech Lecha, move away from there already. Like Shakai Geshem, enough Gashmias. Lech Lecha, leave, remove the world from its state of Soyu Vavoyu. Now it's time to bring the world to the next state, the world of Torah. But Shin Daled Yod Shakai Geshem, enough physicality. Number 3, offering number 3. Lech Lecha, go. Why did God say go? Why didn't He say tsei, leave? Like by Noach, tsei min hateva. Or Moshe Rabbeinu says to Paroi, that in the end you're going to tell us, tsei, go. Also, why did Hashem say Lech Lecha twice? Why not just say Lech me artzecha? And the Ben La'ashri says as follows, that it's not enough just to leave that land alone and to go somewhere else. Lech Lecha means that you should take up the staff of wandering as your occupation, that you should not have a stationary place in this world. Lech Lecha, going should be yours, meaning no land should be your land. No, you should have no Eretz Moiladetoi, no base Aviv, because you should have no connection to Artzios and Gashmias at all, but rather your fate in this world should be Lech Lecha, the fate of the wanderer. Only God should be your fate. You should recognize this world as Ger Anoichi Ba'aretz. Rashi says, and now offering number 4. Rashi says, Kan iyata zoichel b'nim. Here, you can't be zoichel to children. There, you will be zoichel to children. We know Avraham Avinu went down to Mitzrayim, and there Sarah met Hagar, and Sarah ultimately gave Hagar to Avram as a wife. And it comes out, it's a good thing Avram married Hagar, because in Hagar, Avraham was able to remove all of the zuhama that remained in him, and that came out in Yishmael, so that when he was able to live with Sarah and produce Yitzchak emerged pure, because all the zuhama had already been removed. In other words, Hagar really produced Yitzchak. Because Hagar extricated whatever zuhama was left in Avraham, therefore Avraham was able to produce a Yitzchak. So therefore, says Ben La'ashri, an amazing gematria, Yitzchak is gematria Hagar, 208, indicating that through Hagar, 208, Yitzchak was able to come. Veheyei beracha, says the Ben La'ashri, an amazing remez, offering number 5. Veheyei is Rashi Tevois, V'yoimru hine yoim hadin. V'yoimru hine yoim hadin. The meaning is, even when it's a shas din, even when there's din ba'olam, v'heyei bracha, even b'shas din, you will have great blessing. There will always be blessing in your life. Hashem will remember bracha, which is gematria zachar. That's why it's zachar chazdai. V'heyei, even v'yoimru hine Yom Hadin will be a time of bracha. Offering number 6. V'ezcha l'goy gadol, I will make you a great nation. This is what it means. Elekei Avraham. This refers to all the Gerim that are called by the name of Abraham. V'ezcha l'goy gadol, your nation will expand. That's what they say, Elekei Avraham. Va'avarechacha, I will bless you. That is what they say, Elekei Yitzchak. Bracha is stated in the context of Yitzchak. We know Yitzchak was blessed. Vayizra Yitzchak, vayimtza mea sha'arim, vayivarchehu Hashem. And even mules that are not bebracha, still Chazal say, better the fertilizer of the mules of Yitzchak more than the silver and gold of Avimelech. But that which Rashi says, Va'agadla shemecha, I will make your name great. That's what they say, Elekei Yaakov. How does Va'agadla shemecha have to do? What does that have to do with Elekei Yaakov? Says the Ben La'ashri. The pasuk says in Tehillim, Lulei Hashem shahaya lanu yoimar na Yisrael. Had God not been with you, say please Klal Yisrael. The meaning is, Lulei Hashem shahaya lanu yoimar na Yisrael. Listen to this. If you take the letters Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, there are 26 letters. Gematria, Shem Havaya. But the thing is that Avram's name was changed to Avraham. So now that Yaakov's name was called Yisrael, we can't use the name Yisrael. We have to call Yaakov, because if we use Avraham and Yisrael, there'll be 27 letters. So we say like this, Lulei Hashem shahayolanu. Had God not been with us, had we not had a hakpada that we have to have exactly 26 letters in the names of the avos, Yoimano Yisrael, we would say Yisrael. But because we want to keep it at 26, we have to say Yaakov. Now there would have been a simple solution to use Yisrael. Namely, we could say Yisrael, but we'll say Avram and not Avraham. But once Va'agadla shemecha, once your name is Avraham, so now Zeh she'omrim Elekei Yaakov and not Elekei Yisrael. Va'agadla shemecha, Zeh she'omrim Elekei Yaakov, not Elekei Yisrael. Because since Avram's name became Avraham, so therefore the name of Yisrael, we have to use Yitzchak, we have to use Yaakov in order to have 26 letters. Now, one final offering. Rashi says, Rashi says, Avram was promised three things: Banim, Mamoin, and Shem. So therefore, if it says, Va'avarechacha must refer to money. And yet we know, bracha in general is a reference to children. Rashi says, Vashem beirach es Avram ba'koil. Beirach is referring to a ben. Or, we find in Vayetze, Vayivarcheni Hashem biglal Lecha, Rashi says, from Chazal say, brought in Rashi, that before Yaakov came, Lavan didn't have banim, now he has banim. And we also find Chazal and Shmuel, Vayivarech Hashem es oived Edom, that his wife and his daughter-in-laws all gave birth to Shisha b'karas echad. So we see the expression bracha refers to children, and here Rashi says bracha refers to money. Says the Ben La'ashri, we could explain based on a Medrash Pliya brought in the Chidah and the Sefer Reish David. The Medrash Pliya says, Yivarechacha Hashem is b'tzedakah. How do I know? Hashem beirach es Avraham ba'koil. Wait a second. The Gemara Bava Basra says Hashem beirach es Avraham ba'koil refers to children, and how could the Medrash Pliya says it refers to tzedakah? Says the Ben La'ashri, a very simple solution. You remember the Gemara Bava Basra, Daf Yud? Tornis Rufus asks Rabbi Akiva, does God love the poor? Rabbi Akiva says, oh, he loves them to pieces. So Tornis Rufus says, if he really loves them, then if he loves them so much, then why does he not support them? So Rabbi Akiva says, he gives us the opportunity to get Gan Eden by giving them tzedakah. So Tornis Rufus says, no, it's a sin to give tzedakah. The king decreed that his servant should not have money. If somebody contravenes the king's decree that one of his servants should not have money, so that person is a mar b'machos, how could you give tzedakah? So Rabbi Akiva says, no. But if a father, who's the king, decrees that his son should not have sustenance, if someone supports the son, the king will reward them. And we are the children of Hashem. In other words, what allows a Jew to give and accept tzedakah? The fact that we are banim lamakayim. And this is a concept we explain at length in our humble work, Lecha de Meir Anini. So now we could reconcile all the words of Chazal. Hashem says, Va'avarechecha, that refers to money. But what do you mean? Bracha usually refers to banim, to children. No, says the Ben La'ashri. That the fact that you will have children, now your children, Yitzchak and Yaakov, who will have a din of banim, they'll be able to give tzedakah, because tzedakah and the status of banim go hand in hand. Says the Ben La'ashri, there's no contradiction between the Medrash Pliya and the Gemara Bava Basra. The Medrash Pliya says Bakoil is tzedakah. The Gemara adds tzedakah to a son. Tzedakah could only be given to a son, it cannot be given to an eved. And therefore, these two drashos always work hand in hand. Va'avarechecha is mammon, referring to tzedakah, which refers to banim as well. These are 7 amazing offerings of the Ben La'ashri, and I want to wish everyone a wonderful Shabbos, Parshas Lecha, Haba Alinu L'Toida.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.